Hello students, welcome to my educational channel EasyEd. Now continuing chapter 4, we will study about the classification of animals. As we studied in our last lecture, the basis of classification of animals. On that basis, on all those bases, animals or animal kingdom have been classified into various phylums. They are Phylum Porifera. The first and the foremost phylum is Porifera, means they are the first animals. Phylum Coelenterata, also known as Cnidaria. Phylum Ctenophora. Phylum Platyhelminthes. Asclehelminthes. Annelida. Arthropoda. Mollusca. Echinodermata. Hemichordata and Phylum Chordata. This all is in sequence, as I always tell you that whatever the sequence is mentioned, you have to note it properly. These are on the basis of the evolutionary history, on the basis of the advancement of the characters, on the basis of the development of the systems, physiology, etc. So always learn all these phylums or all the classes of various groups, plants as well as animals, in order, in hierarchy. They are in hierarchy. The first phylum is Porifera. Advancements are taking place. For further phylums have been classified, and finally we have phylum Chordata. So all these phylums you have to study the general characters and examples of the few animals belonging to them. The first we will discuss Phylum Porifera. So general characteristics of Phylum Porifera. Members of Phylum Porifera are commonly known as sponges. All the poriferans, members of Phylum Porifera, are known as sponges commonly. They are generally marine. They are found in seawater. See, they are the very first phylum, and you know always the first and the foremost form of life are in water. Life started in water. So first phylum of the animal kingdom, it is aquatic, and these poriferans are generally marine. They are mostly asymmetrical. Remember, we studied the symmetry of body. So, what about the symmetry of poriferans? They are asymmetrical, means if we divide the body on any plane, they won't be divided into equal halves. Body is asymmetrical. In my last lecture, I told you that learn all the terminologies, their definitions properly, and remember the terminologies, because here in the starting the terminologies we are explaining you for your knowledge, for your information, to make you known about them. But further, as we will be proceeding, we won't define each and every terminology again and again. All right, so you have to remember the meanings of this terminology. So here poriferans are mostly asymmetric. That means the body symmetry is not there. Body can't be divided into equal halves on any plane. Next character, they are primitive multicellular with cellular level of organization. These poriferans are multicellular. You all know all the animals are multicellular. So as they are the first group, first phylum, they are primitive types. So they are primitive multicellular. And what is the cellular level? What is the level of organization in the body? We studied in last lecture, if you remember, levels of organization. There were cellular level, there were tissue level, organ level, and organ system level. So if you remember, poriferans are having cellular level of organization. Now the important thing in poriferans, see, there exists a water transport system, or here it is also known as canal system. All right, Now listen carefully. Important characters of poriferans. Sponges or poriferans have a water transport system or canal system. And what happens? Water enters the animal body through minute pores. Minute, very small pores. Water enters the body through minute pores. These pores are called as ostia. Water enters into the body wall and enters into a central cavity. The body is having a cavity at the center that is called as central cavity, and that particular cavity in sponges, in poriferans, is called as spongocele. From spongocele, water finally goes out through the opening. That opening is called as osculum. See, poriferans show a water transport system or canal system. And what is this water transport system? Water enters the body through ostia, that is a small minute pores on the body, enters the central cavity, that is spongocele, and comes out through the opening known as osculum. Alright, what happens? This is the transportation of water in the poriferans. Okay. Now, this path of water transport. What is the use of transportation of water? If you all have understood by now studying biology, transportation is meant for the taking in circulation of food and removal of waste material. So this water transport system, what is its use? It helps in food gathering, respiratory exchange and removal of waste material. Means the food which is taken in is transported to where, as it is multicellular, just now we studied multicellular, every cell needs food. This food is transported through the body through this transport system. Okay. And whatever the exchange of gases, respiration, etc. takes place, this water helps in the process. And finally the removal of the waste material is again through this water when it moves out to the body. I will just explain you with the help of a small diagram the structure of sponges. What happens? This is the structure of a sponge. I am drawing a rough diagram. This is a sponge body attached to the substratum. Okay. This is the opening. This is called as osculum. Okay. Body is having minute pores. These pores are called as ostia. Okay. It is marine, present inside water. What happens? Water enters through these minute pores inside the body. Here on the inner side of the body there is a cavity. That cavity will be called as spongocele. Water enters through ostia, goes to the spongocele, transports throughout the body, gives food to the different parts of the body, different cells of the body, helps in the exchange of gases, respiration, and the waste material collected from the body, whole body, is then moved out of the animal body through the opening called as osculum. Through the opening called as osculum. Alright. This is the water transport system in poriferans. Now poriferans have a specific cells called collar cells or choanocytes. There are some specific cells called choanocytes or collar cells which line the spongocele and the canals. Okay. The cells, specific cells, line means cover the spongocele or the canal. Those cells are called as choanocytes or collar cells. Now digestion in the poriferance, as you just studied that food is transported through water. Food goes inside the body and the process of digestion will take place. This digestion is intracellular. Intracellular means inside the cell. Digestion takes place inside the cell. See, all these general characters, if when we will go further, when we'll study further, you will find that how these general characters are advancing phylum to phylum. Now we are studying the primitive phylum, and as we will go higher, we will see that these characters, these the process of transportation, process of digestion, all these characters are advancing phylum to phylum. So you have to remember it, that in which phylum what was the what was the nature of the system. So digestion here is intracellular. Now in sponges, body is supported by a skeleton made up of spicules or spongin fibers. Just now I told you the diagram of the sponges. What happens? The body shows some spicules, hard structures, calcareous structures. So these spicules are what? They form the skeleton of the body. Okay. So body of the sponges poriferans is supported by a skeleton made up of spicules or spongin fibers. All these names which are mentioned here in each phylum, each process, each terminology are very important. You have to learn them. They form the identifying property or the character of the particular phylum or the animal belonging to that phylum. So in poriferans, body is supported by skeleton made up of spicules or spongin fibers. Which kind of fibers? Spongin fibers. They are hermaphrodite. If you know the meaning of hermaphrodite, means separate sexes are not present. Means both the sexes, male and female, are present in the same body. Okay. So such organisms which possess both male and female sex organs in the same body, that are called as hermaphrodite. So sponges are hermaphrodite. That means a single body contains both the organs, sex organs, male and female. That means eggs and sperms both are produced by the same individual. Same individual produces eggs as well as sperms, means having both male and female sex organs. Such organisms are called as hermaphrodite and sponges are hermaphrodite. Now about reproduction. Sponges reproduce asexually by fragmentation. As they are primitive animals, they will have asexual mode of reproduction also. So in poriferans, asexual reproduction is shown, and that is by fragmentation. Hope you remember fragmentation. We have studied in plants also. Body is divided into very different fragments and each fragment grows into an individual. Now about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is by the formation of gametes. And just now I told you both the gametes, male and female, will be produced by the same individual, within the same individual. Fertilization is internal. Now in animals, you will see a specific process called as fertilization, means fusion of gametes. Whenever there is sexual reproduction, there will be fertilization, that is fusion of gametes. So fertilization is internal, means fertilization takes place inside the body of the organism. As you know, they are hermaphrodite, same bodies having both male and female sex organs. Gametes are produced, eggs and sperms in the same body, and hence fertilization will be internal within inside the body. Development is indirect. Now what do you understand by the meaning indirect and what do you understand by development here? Development means after fertilization. Fertilization means the fusion of gametes. After fertilization, zygote is formed, and this zygote develops into a new individual. That is called as development, means different stages are there from the zygote to a new individual to adult. That is called as development. And what we mean by indirect development? Indirect development means there is a larval stage between the zygote and the adult, means an intermediate step or intermediate stage of larva exists in some organisms. So those organisms which first form larva and then adult, that type of development is called as indirect. And in higher animals we will see, when we will study further, that development is direct, means from zygote it develops directly into adult. No larval stage is formed. So here in poriferans development is indirect. That means there is a larval stage in between, and larva of the poriferans is morphologically distinct from the adults. Here in sponges, in poriferans, larva is morphologically distinct from adults, means morphologically means externally it doesn't looks like it's adult. So some examples of poriferans of sponges are cycon, known as scypha, spongilla, known as freshwater sponge, and euspongia, known as bath sponge. These are all the common names and these are all the zoological names or biological names. Cycon, spongilla, euspongia. You have to learn all these names, the examples. These are the members of phylum Porifera. You have to learn the names. You have to learn their common names also. So this was all about the general characters of phylum Porifera. Further, we will continue with next phylums. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.